Boop, 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 boop. We're going to talk about care, maintenance, cleaning, upkeep of the modular table.
Let's do it.
Start with the finish. Ian, very briefly, what type of finish is this?
So this is just an industrial conversion varnish. It's a 2-part with an activator. You spray it on and it chemically hardens. Very, very hard, very, very durable finish.
I'm reading from the Wood Care and Customer Guide, which is a PDF, which is linked to hopefully somewhere.
Whatever we're talking about.
It. According to this, 30 to 60 days to achieve full cure on this finish.
Yes, for it to fully chemically cure, that's probably accurate. But 2 hours after we spray these, we're actually packaging them. And packaging does not leave any sort of impressions on them. And then the amount of time we hold them before we ship them out, it will likely be fully cured before you get it.
Environment in your home. We should have 65 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit of humidity, approximately 35 to 45%. That thing you care about?
Not too much.
No, me neither. What's important about the environment is that when the seasons change, if you have very poor temperature and humidity control in your house, when the seasons change, that can cause wood movement. And if wood movement is occurring, it's going to be occurring in the toppers. Open up the toppers and air the table out. Air circulation into the vault is the best way to help with the wood movement so that it's moving consistently on the top and the bottoms of the toppers. Oh, let's talk about light, ultraviolet light, sunlight on tables.
Yeah, so there's a few woods that it will have a more immediate dramatic effect on. I mentioned the purple heart, where when you first get it, it will purple it up very quickly. Cherry is another wood that darkens very quickly once you get it over the first several weeks. So for instance, if we put our new dining room table by a window and left a table runner or this piece of paper sitting on it for a week, you'd move that piece of paper and you'd have a big light rectangle right there.
Yep.
And then you'd wait for another week and it would go away.
Right.
So you don't actually need to panic if you do that. Like, oh no, I left a runner on too long and now there's a stripe on my table. It's not there forever. The light will equalize that. It will catch up. And then all woods, if they are left in direct sunlight for a long time, will fade and brown more quickly.
No wood is 100% color fast. So if you have a table under direct sunlight, it will impact the color over time. So if you really care about the aesthetics of the table, the color of the table, it's probably wise not to put it in an area where it's going to receive direct sunlight.
Yeah, if you get, Purple Heart or a Padauk table, it's going to remain vibrant longer in a basement, or a game room with low light than in your dining room next to large windows.
Mm-hmm. Maple becomes yellower. Cherry reddens and browns, deepens in color. Walnut becomes a warmer brown, and the sapwood, a heartwood, differences lessen. Padauk becomes less orange and more red orange. Eventually it becomes sort of a chocolatey brown with enough time. That takes a long time.
Yeah.
Wenge is actually relatively color fast. It stays relatively the same color.
Brown.
Purple Heart moves from a vibrant purple to a purple brown over time, eventually. And that is the, zebrawood and goldens.
It turns, gold.
Wood Care. There's a big list of stuff. It's generally chemically
You don't
stable.
have to do anything to it. There is no upkeep necessary.
And honestly, I don't know what you could pour on this table that would damage it. I think you could actually pour gasoline on it.
Yeah, you could.
I don't think you should pour gasoline on it. Like, the finish is chemically cured and bonded. It's a non-reactive finish. In fact, because of that, you cannot chemically strip these tables. A normal person going to Home Depot, you're not going to be able to even find a chemical stripper that can strip this. So if you want to refinish this, which we do not offer a refinishing service, it is refinishable, but it's going to be refinishable by sanding, not through some sort of chemical stripping.
Yep, sanded down and refinished.
That's the only way to do it.
Again, with the upkeep, you don't need to add anything to this either. There's a million furniture polishes and waxes and gizmos. It doesn't need any of that stuff. If you rub it on, it's just gonna sit on top of it. It might make your table a little more slick and greasy until you wipe it off, but it's not really gonna interact with the wood and affect it in any way.
Let's talk about regular cleaning and maintenance. Mild hand soap, mild dish soap.
Mix a little soap, like a squirt of soap in warm water, and then just use a soft cotton cloth. That's what you need to do. If you've got really your kids made a mess after dinner and you didn't clean it up till the next day and it's really hard and really on there, wipe it with the warm water, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then clean it to soften it up. What is going to actually hurt the finish
Here we go.
is abrasion.
Boom.
You don't want to go get your scouring pad and try to scour that dried food off, because that's going to scratch the finish, and that's what you're going to see.
There's a flat finish.
There's a flat finish.
Right? So you've got glossy all the way to flat, then satin,
then flat.
And it actually goes like gloss, semi-gloss, satin, the eggshell, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
This is a flat finish, which is a close to the wood finish. The reason we did that is because it does not show damage, it does not show scratches, it does not show nicks. It is the most forgiving sheen a finish can have. That being said, you come at this with steel wool, you come at this with bar top powder cleaner, you're gonna mess it up. Like, you will actually notice the sheen will be different in that area because you've abraded the finish.
If you scratch it with something rough, it's going to get dull patches. And honestly, if you took like a finer compound or and went really hard at it with something very fine, you'll actually make it shiny.
You can actually buff it.
But
so don't try to buff the table. Don't use buffing compounds to try to make it shinier, and don't use abrasives because it will make it duller. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just
water. It's all you need.
Water,
the universal,
a little bit of soap.
Yeah, universal solvent.
Don't be a hero, and don't abrade. Spills and stains. Let's talk about that very quickly for spills and stains. Wipe it up.
Step one.
Wipe it up. If there's a spill, 90% of it will just go off. If the spill gets really in the gasket, all right, the water will sit in the gasket. If you have a major spill, you're going to want to take your table topper off and clean in the gasket. There's going to be a small amount of liquid stuck in the gasket, so you just want to make sure that when you're doing that you take care that there's nothing in there that, you know, that's where you might get a couple little drops in the volume.
I was going to say, what I would recommend if you had a major spill in your tabletop is absorb as much of it as possible.
Yes.
Throw a towel on it, get most of it off, and then put a paper towel on the gasket, and it's going to draw that moisture up before you open it. So you're not just spilling a puddle onto what's underneath. It's giving you time to clean it.
This gasket presses against the spline. That's your spill protection, right? It's spill resistant. It is not spill proof. If you have a spill, it can come down in this area. This area is not gasketed, so major spills, you can end up with a little bit of liquid on the armrest. So if you do have a spill, after you wipe it off, you're going to want to remove the toppers to clean any puddles on the armrest.
And the underside of the topper.
You do not want to have a puddle sitting on your armrest for extended periods of time next to the topper, because even though the finish is excellent and quite water fast, nothing is perfect. It's just asking for trouble. So don't mess with it. Scratches! It is possible. What is going to scratch your table? Any sort of grit, rock.
2-year-olds, forks.
Yeah, metal. Over time, your table, while incredibly durable, will naturally accumulate wear and tear, along with many memories of game nights and family dinners. If a scratch occurs and you feel it really detracts from the table, we recommend cleaning the surface, then rubbing the raw meat of a walnut on the scratch, following up with a soft, lint-free cloth. The oils from the walnut will naturally buff out some of the minor scratches and act as a sealant. And that is true. Call it the walnut trick. If you do have a scratch, which is at that point raw wood, if you've scratched through the finish into the raw wood, rubbing that walnut onto the raw wood is basically it's finishing the wood.
Yeah, just the oils are making generally scratches show up light. The oils are just darkening the wood back to match everything else. So honestly, a lemon oil, other oils would work as well, but a walnut is actually a neat trick.
Talk about felts. Felt is removable, washable, and also affordable.
Great.
So feel free to replace it if you fuck it up.
Yeah, there you go.
That's true. That's really what you should do.
You can also flip it over at least once.
Exactly.
You get two sides.
Exactly. Let's talk about leather care. Some of our accessories, like the Hobby Solo, can get an optional leather upgrade. Ba-bling. We also have player desks. Cut to those. Those look great.
It is leather. It is thick. It is durable. It is oiled. It's oiled leather. So you will see scars, cuts, brands, things like that in the leather sometimes.
Yes.
And that's just to be expected.
Because it's just like
it's a natural material. It's like wood.
Just like wood is natural, you'll occasionally get knots, you'll occasionally get character. You'll get character in leather because this is genuine Leather. This is not pleather. This is leather. This is rare, but it does occur. You can occasionally get on leather surfaces a white powdery residue. That white powdery residue is the oils in the leather. If you're in a very low humidity environment, the oils in the leather actually like come out of the leather a small amount. It is completely harmless. It's completely nothing. You just you just wipe it away.
Oiled leather thing.
Oiled leather care. We do sell, Bic 4. You can also just buy Bic 4 from anywhere. Just saying. This party tray has gotten sort of beaten up over time. If you want to freshen it up, you just put a little bit of love.
We're using a paper towel, which isn't the best.
No.
The fibers kind of fall off it. You should just use like a t-shirt cotton rag.
Yeah.
That's the best.
So anyway, I'll just do a section of this. You just let that sit in there. You're gonna let that absorb, and then after it's absorbed for a period of time, you're just going to come in.
Wipe it off, it's gonna look great.
There you go. You can do that as much or as little as you'd want. Last two things I'm gonna talk about when it comes to wood care. Moving time. If you need to move the furniture, it does disassemble. If you can keep the original packaging, you would be wise to keep the original packaging. You don't need to disassemble it to move it. It just would make it easier. Lastly, this is nice furniture. This is heirloom furniture. It's nice. Don't be an idiot, right? If you have a teapot full of hot water, use a trivet. Do not go out of your way to test the finish to the limit,
yeah.
okay?
No need.
Treat it with respect. It's an heirloom piece of furniture. It will last you a lifetime. You can hand it down to your kids if you take care of it. Number 2, heaven forbid, the doggo gets to it, chews up the leg, messes it up. What else?
The little kids with the forks.
Oh yeah?
Sitting at the end. One end of my table is just peppered in like a half moon with like all these little holes through it.
If you do want to replace a certain section of your table, reach out to customer service and we can send you replacement parts for those specific things. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, reach out to our customer service folks. We've got our wood guides, care guides, PDFs, all sorts of resources. We're here to help. So if you have any needs, reach out to us and we will take care of you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.